Okay, so when I was on the West Coast, since all my information has been stolen from me by these parasites, and none of you people have helped me, I have to consider you all the enemy, and that's that. So I'm going to put out the information right now. When I was on the West Coast, I went to this place called the West House, called the Red House. My bad. It should have been called the West House because it was all the same. But they were waging war against the cops and the government there. There was a house being taken from people who didn't pay their taxes. And the people set up a war zone against the cops. And I kind of thought that was interesting and fun to be involved in that. And I thought that was kind of cool. But I already seen so many things. I understood that these people are not my friends, so I'm not going to side with them ever. So we set up, like, there's literally a war zone. Like, I know most of you have never been involved in a war zone, so you don't know what that means or anything, unless you're a soldier and you've been to, like, a literal war zone. But this is the war zone they set up. And the weird thing is I had a person claiming to be Ra contacting me, and they told me things. They said, your camera is no longer working. Okay, so they knew my camera and it's no longer recording. One question I have is, how come you don't know a day before, like, why I stopped recording? Because people had found out I was recording these events. But other than that, he came in talking like he was an FBI agent and all this stuff, or a government agent, and all these people ran away from us. And they're like, oh my God, it's a government agent. But he drew these other God mystical symbols. And it made me think that, like, he's really with this other group that has been working with me. No one believes in the gods. Everyone claims they're a Christian or this or that or whatever. But no one I've talked to has ever spoken with the gods or the beings amongst us who know more than we do. And so I just assume, like, if he's drawing these symbols, he's actually with this system, because this system is really different than humanity is. Okay, so I say we a lot, but they set up a war zone. There's a house being taken away from the citizens because they didn't pay their taxes. It's called the Red House. And so they set up a war zone around the entire house. Like a real war zone. Like, this was like literally like 100 civilians versus like 20 cops. So unless the cops used lethal force, they weren't going to win, because the civilians were not using lethal force. But they were using gas masks and everything else to defeat non-lethal force. And let me tell you, fucking chemical warfare is warfare, and you should fucking die if you think that's anything fucking less than lethal warfare. And it's so kind of hard for me to go out into these places and look at it and be like, oh, well, these are the bad people, even though they've assaulted me and broke my stuff so many times. It's hard to figure out who I'm supposed to work for these days, because no one gives a shit about me, and no one... when I look back, I'm not sure anyone ever really did give a shit about me. So I have to logically deduce this, math, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. If you don't understand math and you don't understand, then you can make the argument and cry and whine. But the point of the video is I went to this Red House, and there's like this, it looked like some Hollywood shit. There's like an entire war zone set up around this place. And, man, it was exciting. Like, I went there thinking these people were going to kill me if I walked into their situation, but they didn't. It's very exciting. And then, so anyways, this whole city is taken over by the civilians. The population runs the city. And, I mean, I used to have proof of this, but no one gives a fuck about me. So no one protected me, no one helped me. And so everyone's going to get everything that's come to them. as far as this shit falls apart and this planet gets destroyed in the next 8 years, because we have 8 years left of the warfare. And it's only just begun. So, yeah, it's very interesting. I don't know how to explain it. There's like spike strips on the ground in case the police move forward. They would step on spike strips. There was, man, the people all had gas masks and they had body armor on. But the police couldn't use deadly warfare, because if they did, then I assume they would fucking resort to deadly warfare as well. Once you do that, you escalate the situation. And this is just one of the things I've seen that you're never going to hear about. You're never going to hear about the Red House on the media. You're never going to hear about that. And I was right there in the middle of it. And I don't know who to support anymore, because I thought they were my enemies, because they assaulted me a few times across the nation, the Antifa. But you know what? Everyone else fucking neglected me and spit on me and just avoided me once I fucking begged for help and shit. And, you know, like, I put out videos crying for help, saying I'm trying to kill myself because I'm scared. And no one gave a shit. No one tried to help me, especially when I came back to I left this nation because I felt that that was the only way to feel protected. And when I came back, no one gave a shit about me. Everyone treated me the same fucking way that this other side treats people. But I'm putting this out. The video, they finally secured all my fucking evidence of everything. And it's because everyone in this fucking nation has protected them and not protected me. And if I'm the one protecting you, then if I'm the one in control, then let it go on. Let it just go on. Let's see what happens here. We got Putin. I have big hopes for Putin these days. Putin has struck against the Ukrainian, which is part of the USA, UK, Australian, South African, Israeli empire. And Putin has struck against them. And once they struck the Kazakhstan empire and just took it over in like a day, of course Putin's going to retaliate. Maybe Putin's my only friend. I'm trying to figure out if I don't think I have a single fucking friend beside these invisible people who come and talk to me every now and then, and no one even knows these people exist. So I guess I should just leave it at that I have help from a higher power. And all these people claim they believe in a higher power. I don't actually believe in it, and they just do it for cool. I don't know. They're trying to be cool and trendy. I don't understand what cool and trendy is. I've never understood that. It can go both ways. You can be cool and trendy and listen to AC/DC or some devil worship music. Or you can be cool and trendy and go to church because it's cool and trendy. And everyone's just cool and trendy about it. But this is one of the things I've seen, and I'm going to put this out there, and no one gives a fuck. No one cares about me. I mean, these people above me, like, they obviously, like, think I'm, like, an interesting aspect of this shit. But other than that, just putting this out there. It's only going to get out to, like 55 people, so no one cares. I seen this crazy stuff no one even knows exists. This is just one of the small things I've experienced is the Red House out there in Portland. And you know what, at this point in time, after everyone's spitting on me and kicking me around, like, well, you know, praise to them for fucking, they took over their fucking city, and the cops no longer control their city, and they control their city. And if this is the way it is, then, you know, someone should have wrote a little manual and given it to me about what I have to do and how it has to happen.